Okay, hello, it's Joe here from Bastion, and we're here to talk about a very important subject. Here at Bastion, we're discussing how to deal with the energetically toxic individuals, bullies, whether covert or overt, etc. And I have made a video earlier about how to identify these types of people without energetic tools. So just noticing by their mannerisms, by the sort of things they wear, the ways they act, etc. So now we're going to go into how to identify them with an energy tool, such as Aether, like this little ray here. And so I'm going to make this video available to everyone, so not just Bastion members. It'll be available publicly on YouTube. So if you're watching this and you hear some things that you don't understand or are not familiar, it is a Bastion term and you're free to join us if you wish. Otherwise, enjoy the free tutorial here about how to pull this off. And so in the original video I made a few months ago, I mentioned that there are these people out there. You can call them the energetically toxic, you can call them bullies, you can call them energy vampires, you can call them any sort of being or etc. That describes them. The way that I'm going to phrase it is an NOB, and that is a negatively oriented being. So it just means that they have a core negative energy, and that usually manifests in certain behaviors such as bullying, passive aggressive behavior, manipulation in certain ways. And honestly, the first video covered it all pretty well, so I won't sum it up for now. But this is for people that do have an Aether tool of some sort. And if you do not have one, I give them away for free on my website, etheric.org. There's free samples. There's a small shipping fee, but it's very, very small, I promise. As long as you have any sort of Aether device, it can be a very complex one like this, which all Bastion members get upon becoming a member. Otherwise, it could be something like this, maybe just like a little egg or a little piece like that. It does not matter what it is. As long as it's Aether or a very highly positive energetic device, then this will work out. And so what we're going to discuss here is how you can use an energy tool to actually identify those with negative energies around you. And this is especially helpful for those who feel either sick or tired or anxious or just unwell, uncomfortable in certain locations. And we often blame it on ourselves, and we think that we have some mental issue or physical issue, when in fact it's an environmental issue, or to be more precise, there are individuals in your proximity that are bringing you down energetically. And so you can prove this to yourself and identify who is doing it to you as well. And that is why this is useful. So let's go right into that. So in general, if this is correct and there are people that can affect you energetically, that means that energy is at play. And how does energy work between people? Well, first off, they have to connect to you energetically. And that can be done actually quite easily. And we do it all the time naturally, just by looking at someone and having our intention connect to them. And so that is very simple. So you can simply stare at someone and bam, you're connected. It's really that easy. You might have noticed at some points in your life that you may be walking or standing or waiting, and suddenly you feel either a slight anxiety or a slight just feeling that you're being watched, and then you turn to where you think it's at, and then bam, someone's staring right at you. I'm sure that's happened to you many times in your life. Those that are more sensitive to energies and more perceptive, you could say more psychic, it might be more common for them. I personally have it happen all the time. I am always catching people looking at just the right moments. And so I'm not the only one, I'm sure. So just by looking at someone and you even thinking about them or just staring at them and observing them, you're connecting to their energy. Another way it can be done is through memory or through visualization. And so if they think about you, even when they're not next to you, and they're just thinking of you and visualizing you, that is also a mental connection. And so we're not going to go into that because that's a whole advanced ball game. We're going to go to proximity-based energetic connections and potential harassment or vampirism. And so let's pretend here for a second. So let's say you're at work, if you work, or you're at school, or you're just waiting in line at the grocery store, and all of a sudden you feel anxiety. Okay, so it just sneaks up on you. And if you're an anxious person and you've always assumed you're an anxious person, maybe it's common. And so maybe you've gotten used to it and you just think, oh, it's just my body doing this thing again. But for this practice, I want you to try something different. And so imagine you're in this place and you suddenly feel this anxiety creep up. Instead of just, trying to do your breathing exercises, maybe there's a certain mental trick you have, or a visualization you use, or a mantra that you silently chant, or whatever you do. Instead, I want you to think that maybe that there's someone's energy nearby that is affecting you negatively. So first off, what you can do, say if you don't have an energy tool, is you can look around and see if anyone's looking at you. Very simple, right? And so anyone can do that, but we're going to assume that you have an energy tool like Aether. So when you feel that feeling, what the practice should be is that you should reach into your pocket, grab your device, hold it in either hand really, and there's certain times when certain hands feel better. I personally like to use the left hand because it usually is the receptive hand, the non-dominant hand. And by holding it, it kind of recepts, you could say, it's receptive to the energy so that you can become awash in its output. And so what I want you to do the next time this happens is to grab your device, gently hold it, don't squeeze it, because if you contract too much and your muscles are too tight, it inhibits energy flow. So just hold it and be comfortable with it. Make sure your arm is maybe slightly tense, but not tensed like this, and not so relaxed that you can barely feel anything. It's got to be slightly activated. And as you do this, take in a nice, deep, slow inhale, and take a nice, long, slow exhale. And as you inhale, imagine you're pulling that energy into your body. And as you exhale, just circulate it. Imagine you're kind of inviting in a breeze, and you let it into your body, and as you exhale, it can swirl around inside you. You can direct it mentally to the spot where the anxiety is. It could be on your heart or your neck or your belly or whatever. And just awash yourself in positive energy, okay? And usually this will help with the anxiety straight away. And so you might notice that instead of having a vice grip on your heart or on your solar plexus, that it kind of it breaks up or loosens a little bit. So you have some breathing room. And so this is step one of this practice. And in Bastion, we've already covered this exercise many times over many different techniques. So you guys should be very comfortable with this. If you're a newcomer watching this, essentially it's a basic Qigong technique, a meditation of where you breathe in, you pull in energy, and then you exhale, and then you can direct or push that energy in any way you need to. So you can study Qigong if you want to learn the equivalent of this technique. And of course, make sure you get your free device. They're free. Remember, free samples at etheric.org, and work on incorporating that energy. And so the next part of this is that as you're doing this and you're washing in this energy, take a look around then and see if you notice anyone looking at you, or see if they're looking a little nervous or a little uptight. Because what is this doing? What is happening here? I'm going to tell you. So if someone is intently sliming you with negative or toxic energy, or if they're intentionally vamping you and, feeding on your energy, they're connected to your energy. And so think about it. If you have a device that is making your energy strongly, scathingly positive, what happens to someone that's connected to that energy who's negative? Well, it's not good, okay? Because they don't like positive energy that's this strong. They like to feed or mess with natural energies that are a bit more soft and marshmallow-like, and they can kind of do what they want to it and kind of have their own fun with it. But this is essentially poison to evil. It's anti-evil technology. And so if you hold it and breathe it in and circulate it as best as you can, you are making yourself poisonous to negative beings. And so If you do this and you kind of feel that energy building up, and again, in Bastion, we have practices to better feel energy as well. But let's assume that just breathe in and relax and have it conduct through you. And if you look around, you might notice that some people seem really still, like a mannequin, or it looks like they're holding their breath. That was a really common one a few years ago. So really still, holding their breath, or like, what else would they do? Their movements might become more robotic or more cartoonish. So they might kind of start talking and moving and being still, kind of like a robot would. Like they can do the human mannerisms, but it seems kind of forced and it seems kind of rehearsed, or like they're on autopilot and they're not really there. And this is something that I guess with time, you'll just know what to look for, and you can just kind of point it out like, there it is, like I can. But if you're not used to it, maybe you won't recognize it. But just look for those key things, okay? So someone that's a little too stiff, a little too robotic, or they're moving in a way that seems a little extra, like bad acting. That's what you should look for. And people that look like they're holding their breath, etc. And so you might not notice this if you're just holding a device and breathing it in and making yourself positive, but it is more likely to happen. The next step is going to be how you can really bring the fight, so to speak. But let's stay on step one for now, okay? So you're awash in positive energy. You're kind of feeling that negative feeling go away a little bit, but sometimes it'll get stronger. And this is actually a good thing. And so I know. So is it a good thing to feel more anxious or more uncomfortable with some device that's supposed to help you feel better? Well, no, you want to feel comfortable all the time, I'm sure. But if you hold this device and the anxiety gets stronger, what that means is that you're next to someone or something's affecting you that has most of their negativity cloaked. And cloaked meaning like it's hidden or disguised, and they like to kind of stay in the background and kind of do their sneaky things but not be identified. And so if that feeling, that bad feeling gets stronger, that means you're decloaking it. You're taking the sheet off, you're unraveling its defenses, and you're seeing it for what it really is. And so if you take a sheet off some horrible monster or some horrible sight and you finally see the truth, it's not going to feel good. It's not a pretty thing. Negative, toxic, parasitic energy is not fun or interesting or good to be around. It's just not. And so if you see it for what it is and you reveal it and you take the mask off, you're going to see its true form. You're going to feel its true power. And I want you to make a pledge with me right now. I know it's all of a sudden, but it's important. I want you to pledge that if you truly want to get to the root of what is making you uncomfortable and what is making you feel drained or ugly or clumsy or stupid or whatever, or sick and tired, etc., that you will go to the source and take care of it, even if it's uncomfortable. Because oftentimes when we feel bad around people, we just want to run. We want to get out of there. We want to go somewhere safe, kind of breathe to ourselves somewhere quiet and secluded, and just kind of eventually come back to some semblance of normal. And most of us do that. And I did that when I was young, before I knew kind of what this meant and what energy did in these interactions. No more. Okay? I want you to learn how to fight this. I want you to learn how to master it. And that means you have to go straight through it. And that means it's not going to be comfortable. When you go straight through it, you're going to walk through the hottest part of that fireball. You're going to walk through the toughest part of the storm. And if you do that and you go right to the core and you crush it, or you transform it, turn it upside down, you're free. And all that bad feeling that you felt is gone because you extinguished it. Okay? And so if you are interested in doing this and in fighting off these feelings and making sure that no one can mess with you covertly in this way, please check out Bastion. It's made for you, okay? And it literally goes through this all. But that is for another time, because this video is just on identifying the culprit, okay? So let's focus back on that. Let's double back. So you have your device, you're kind of in your spot doing whatever, and suddenly that bad feeling gets worse. Okay. So that means that whatever's connected to you is being decloaked, and now they're definitely freaking out, at least a little bit, because they don't like to be decloaked. That shouldn't be possible. No one else among humans can really do that reliably, except for us, who knows how to decloak them. And so if you feel that feeling get worse, that's even better. So if you do that and you look around, you're going to see someone really hammering down on their focus, because they want to try to rein it in, or they want to try and scare you off so you stop doing this. So you're going to see them either intently staring at you maybe, and they might not be blinking, especially the unblinking ones. And especially when their eyes are really wide and just staring at you, they're just trying to hammer you with this negative energy. However, there is another form of this sort of energetic abuse that can manifest, and they will try to get closer to you. And this is a thing that it's always been around, but these days it is like the name of the game, especially after COVID. And, you know, they get close to you in the grocery store, and we're supposed to all be scared about the virus and etc. And they get next to you, and you're all like, ooh, I feel bad because I'm scared I might get sick. And that's kind of what we're conditioned to do, right? But it could be something else going on. In any case, if you're decloaking someone and people suddenly get close to you or just stand next to you, and they might even be looking at you. They might just be staring off into space or staring at something else. Usually that kind of drone, kind of like brainless, just staring at something, unblinking, slowly moving their head. They, to scare you off and to do stronger, harsh energy to you, they have to focus on it. And that means that they can't focus on something else. And so they usually go on autopilot while they struggle to handle what you're doing to their energy. And so you'll see kind of a glazed outlook, or they'll kind of just be saying things that are brainless or automatic. It's just kind of this mindless drone chatter or mindless drone movement. And so, or just staring at you, or again, what I mentioned before, very tight, very still, unblinking, just like a drone, really, like a robot, like a drone. And so if you feel it get worse, definitely keep an eye out for that, because that means they're going into overdrive to compensate for what you're doing to their energy. And so with that said, I think we can move to step 2. Just to recap really quick, as you're holding the device, you can look around to see if anyone's staring at you or is changing in their positioning or seems extra phony or acted or forced. Or you'll see people change their position and try and get closer to you to kind of bully you with their toxic energy, so you just want to get out of there. Because when you get out of there, they think, oh, it's done. Whatever that weird thing was, it's gone now, and they're scared off, and I can just do my own predation and my own predatory behavior, and it's done. But don't run. Remember, do not run. Bring the fight to them and extinguish that toxic energy with future lessons anyways. But we're going to go ahead and do one of those techniques right now, okay? And so here's step 2. So say that you kind of have an idea of where that negative source is coming from, or say you have no idea. You don't have to know, but let's do both. So if you do have a hunch of who it is, and usually you can tell, because if you get close to them, you feel worse. Or, of course, if you look at them, you might even feel bad just looking at them because their energy is so toxic. There is also, of course, and I totally forgot this, the aspect of their voice. If their voice really carries and it is really irritating, there's usually a negative energy attached to it. So if their voice is annoying and it makes you feel bad, if you feel bad near them, or if they just look oddly drone-like, these are the warning signs that their energy is being conflicted with and they have to go into autopilot mode. So now we're going to go into a slight offensive maneuver. And this is a very basic one that really anyone can do. So with your device, you want to, of course, breathe in, bring that energy in. And then what you want to do is it's almost like you're reaching out with your little, like a visualized energy arm. So it's purely visualization, but you're reaching out and grabbing onto the wire of whatever is connected to you. Because something negative is attached to you, and that means there's a connection there. So you can grab that connection and then charge it with this energy that's conducting through you. So it's like a circuit. It goes through your arm, it goes into you, it goes out and it grabs what's connecting to you, the wire, and you're charging energy through your body to this energy arm onto the energetic connection, and it traces right back to its source. So you don't have to know where it's coming from. If you feel something, you can just imagine, okay, charge with energy, feel that feeling, grab the string that is attached to its source, wherever it is, and imagine surging it with energy, surging it with the positive, brilliantly, scathingly, divinely bright energy that is this, that is anti-evil technology. And it will trace back to the source and start roasting them, in essence. It's turning their energy, it's processing it to a positive state, okay? And what I like to visualize is that it's like a wire going to a light bulb, and you want to charge it with so much electricity that that light bulb bursts, okay? You want to overload it so much that it just explodes. And when you do that, you finally can break its hold on you, and you can finally be free. And there is a lot more nuance to this. I'm not covering a lot of other stuff that could happen. This is a basic approach you can do. So please grab some ether, practice this technique, go out in public and start identifying NOBs, okay? Once you see what's out there, once you see how it relates to your physical and emotional state, you'll believe all of this and be ready for what's next. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful night.